the state of poorness or state of richness does not depend on how many assets we are having in our life, how many, I'm going to say, the bank balances we are having. It doesn't depend on that. The state of richness and the state of poorness depend on to the mindset. There are many people who are having many assets, but mentally they are poor. And there are so many people who are not having much, but they are rich people. Now, what is the thing which I've been talking about? We have to give them a sense of generosity into our kids. During my growing ages, one day, and that was quite a ritual from my father, that he always give whatsoever the charity of the amount he has to give, he has always give me in my hand and said, Kamran, just go and give that money to the poor in front of his eyes. And that was quite okay, because as far as that was his money. But one day he asked me, he said, Kamran, now you have to ask me, how many is your pocket money? And I said, I'm getting that amount of money, Dad. It said, you have to give that amount of money out of your pocket money as well to the needy. And I said, but why, Dad? It's so small. That money is so small. What difference is going to make? So my dad said, Kamran, always remember, it is not about the money. It's about that philosophy which is more important. If you are going to give that charity, if you are going to be generous into whatsoever you are having with such a smaller amount, this philosophy is going to help you for the rest of your life, because when you are having your finances, you are going to give it even from that as well, and not about that, my dear friends. But I found that philosophy of generosity has trickled down up to that extent that whatsoever I'm having in my pocket, whether it's my knowledge, whether it's my experience, whether it's my good manners, I must have to share. And that sharing gives you, always provides you in abundance, because you remember, always the poor persons, they live with the scarcity mindset. They hold whatsoever the good within them. They don't share because of the fear that it is going to be lost. But the rich person's mindset is they always go with the generosity. They deliver the best for the masses, and they get in return the same amount. So teach your kids what we are talking about. That is more important. The generosity they have to give from themselves, and that is the thing which has always been there. And I've also talked about some of the aspects earlier. Whenever people are in the stress and depression mode, what they always found, whenever the people are in stress and depression mode, they always see some gaps are there, something which is not filling there. And whenever you started giving out of yourself, what you found there is always in abundance. And always remember, my dear friends, whenever you are in the state of abundance, you always feel happy. This is the best gift you can give to your kids. Always teach your kids respect and forgiveness among your relations. And this is my talk especially for the mothers right now over here. And I have to make a special request. If you are doing an upbringing of your sons, if you are listening to me, then listen it very carefully. You must have to teach your sons how to respect women. How to respect women. Because what I have observed, I have found this thing, that especially when we are doing an upbringing of our son, and if we observe that they are being good in relation towards their mothers and sisters, what I have observed, my dear friends, it is 110% likely chance that they are going to continue with the similar pattern when they are going to have their wife, when they are going to have their spouse. So because this is a trickle down of the same behavior. Now what about, and this is a question I'm asking you, what about if they are impolite towards their sisters? What about if they are impolite towards their mothers? What do you think? How it would be a future life for that kid? Absolutely, you got an idea. It is not going to be fine. Because if the same behavior is going to be replicated ahead in the other relations, it is going to be a disaster. This is my best advice, what I've learned from my life, when I found that my parents had specially given that induced amount of effort and tell me, Kamran, you must have to respect. And when I found the first woman in my life, my mother, and I got a lot of things from her, and then when I'm lucky enough to have my sister, and she never allowed to be impolite towards my sister. She never allowed that. And I found that this character, this pattern which I got, my future life becomes so happy, because I do not need to do anything extra. That was so natural. And when I got my daughter, alhamdulillah, I feel like I'm quite good, because the same pattern has been replicated down the line. So this is an advice for the sons. But whenever you are doing for an upbringing of your daughters, give them a bit of more resilience in their character. What I'm always taught to them, this is good. Never differentiate, my dear friends. Never differentiate, never demarcate upbringing between sons and daughters. Give them an equal amount of love, or even reflect an even amount of respect and love for all of them. Never compare them. Never compare them. Don't create a jealousy in between. Always have a similar value-based parenting. So if someone is done wrong, you should not be differentiated. You should induce that element of forgiveness among relationship.